Hi, my name is Kylie Blacksell and welcome to the Human Happiness video tutorial on how to discover your life purpose, an introduction. So the first question you might be asking yourself is, do I have a life purpose? Does every human being have a life purpose? And the quickest answer to give you for that one is yes, you definitely do have a life purpose. And your life purpose is actually unique in comparison to every other human being's life purpose. And I'll be going into a bit of detail in this video on how you can actually home in on what your life purpose actually is. Now, every human life is actually very precious. It's very rare, in fact, and quite unique in comparison to all the other lives that there are going on around us. If you think about the size of the animal kingdom, the insect kingdom actually outnumbers humans quite significantly just with the insects. So having a human life is actually a great honour, a great privilege, and it gives you that opportunity to actually grow and to make a difference in the world through your own personal expression, whatever that personal expression may be. And it also allows your soul to develop and to move through its levels of movement up until it gets to the point of enlightenment. Your soul may even be ready to reach that point of enlightenment in this particular lifetime. And what I mean by that is, if you look at the ascended masters that we've seen in the past, people like Jesus, Buddha, like that, people that have actually ascended to a very, very high point of enlightenment before they've died. They've walked on the planet and they've died, and then they've become ascended masters. So that's the ultimate purpose. But your soul, even before your soul came down this time into this human life, into this reincarnation, your soul already made a decision about what its life purpose was going to be. Okay, what it was actually setting out to achieve in this particular lifetime. It had already chosen its soulmates, and there's several dozen most likely that your soul has chosen to come across that can help you, push you forward on that life purpose. Each reincarnation gives you the opportunity to grow in certain areas that you haven't had the opportunity to grow in before, maybe you missed out on in your past lives. It also gives you the opportunity to actually heal from all the wounds and the hurts from past lives as well, that we could go into as well. But there's essentially an overall purpose that every human being has while they're walking on this planet, and that is to achieve perpetual bliss. And how do you do that? You do that through love, and you do that through creativity. So once you find your life purpose, you find your mission on this planet, you find what it is you're really supposed to be doing, what you'll actually achieve is perpetual bliss. You'll actually be pretty much happy all of the time. So that's essentially the life purpose of all human beings in a nutshell. But of course, everybody's got their own unique way of achieving that. So how do we work out what our life purpose is? How do we find out what this is all about? And of course, that's what this video is all about. The really good news is that you're actually receiving mail from your higher self, from your angels, from the universe, whatever you want to call it, from God, every moment of the day. And these messages are coming in all different kinds of shapes and forms, and I'll be able to enlighten you on what those different shapes and forms are in brief in this video. So in your entire reality, as it stands right at this moment in time, there will be positive things that are happening, things that make you feel really positive, things that give you that warm, fuzzy feeling inside and you just lights up your face. They're pieces of information that tell you that you're on your path, that you're in the right direction, that whatever that is, keep going with that, because that's part of your life purpose. All the other stuff, all the things that are giving you negative feelings, making you feel quite uncomfortable, quite uneasy inside, they're actually things that are saying that you're off your life path. Now you need to be able to differentiate here between things that you're getting outside your comfort zone, you're pushing yourself, that's one thing, but things that make you feel and that are causing you pain and making you feel uncomfortable all the time and just giving you that gut feeling that it's not right, that's actually telling you that you're off your path. So I'm going to go into that in a lot more detail in a few moments. Now, one thing to note here, that everything that's happening without must first happen within. So what I'm saying is everything that's happening in your reality right now had to first happen within, inside of your mind, okay, inside of your thoughts. So all of your reality has been created by your thoughts, and just hold on to that thought for a while, and we'll come back to it later. So you're getting messages every single day, and when those messages aren't heard, or you don't actually acknowledge them, you don't realize these messages are coming through, the messages will get louder and louder, and they'll get more intense, they'll get stronger, until you actually notice. Okay, basically the universe will keep upping the ante until you get to a point where you go, oh, I think the universe is trying to tell me something here. I think what I'm doing over here is not quite right. I probably need to change my direction. I'll give you an example of this with my own past. For about 2 decades, I had chronic tonsillitis, the sort where you can't even speak. I'd go for up to 2 weeks on really heavy painkillers. They weren't even cutting it. I still couldn't speak. Enormous amount of pain, bedridden, and I would have about 3 or 4 of these every year. And it happened through my young adult life, partly through adolescence, and definitely through my part of my married life. And it was my voice not being able to be heard. Okay, I had truth that I couldn't speak. Also being a 3, I'm going to be doing quite a bit of numerology stuff later, so if you haven't yet worked out your life path numerology, just jump onto the website, pause the video, jump onto the website, thehumanhappiness.com.au, and just go to the services numerology page and just work out your numerology. So this video will make a lot more sense when I start talking about numbers. Okay, so being a 3, it's all about expression and sensitivity. Okay, I have a 3 in my numbers, as you'll notice when you go on the website. And I was unable to express my truth. I was unable to speak out and say what it was that was upsetting me, what it was I needed to change. And so I kept getting the tonsillitis, and it actually got worse and worse and worse. It got really bad. And then I got to a point where I had to go to a specialist, to a surgeon, and get him to say, yep, we're going to cut your tonsils out, give you a tonsillectomy. And I was all signed up. I was going to get admitted into the hospital, and my beautiful younger sister said to me, Kylie, just go and do some energy work. Go and find out what this is. Find out what's underneath all of this. You may discover some things. So I did about 3 or 4 months. It only took about 3 or 4 months of energy work, working on the energy in my Vishuddhi chakra, and actually listening to what it was that was going on, listening to what I was feeling when the energy work was getting done, and releasing all of that pain, all of that withholding of my expression. Okay, being able to let it out, being able to cry it out, being able to write it out or say it out or whatever it was. So the universe was trying to tell me, you're off your path and you really need to get back on it. And so looking at it and actually paying attention to what was happening in my body, for instance. Okay, so this is one of the messages that can happen to you. You can have a bodily response to something. I was definitely having a very strong bodily response to my lack of self-expression. If you listen to that and you actually stop and do the work, do the healing work, do the energy work, and then you can actually get yourself back on your path, and you can prevent things like surgery, which I definitely did. I still have my tonsils. So that's one example of how you can get mail, and if you don't listen to it, it will just keep upping the ante. So people can end up with accidents, illness, diseases, really nasty things happening, and if they stop and look, they'll notice that the ante just kept on getting upped, basically, as they were going through, and they knew there was something not quite right, but they were maybe not noticing it or not paying as much attention as they needed to pay to it. Okay, so let's look at one of the types of messages that you can actually receive from your angels, from the universe, from God, from your higher self, whatever it is you want to call it. Something's sending you messages, and this is one of the ways that you can read them. So we know the concept of body language. Okay, we know that a certain person can hold their eyes a certain way, they can hold their body a certain way, they can stand in certain postures, etc. And that's a type of body language. That's like an external body language, or the positioning of parts of your body to express what's actually going on in your mind. Okay, that's one type, but there's actually another whole body language going on in the background that you may or may not be aware of. You're probably at least subconsciously aware of this other type of body language that I'm talking about. And it's sort of like what I was saying with my tonsillitis, basically exactly the same. For example, I'll give you a few examples. If you're feeling stuck, if you feel like you can't move, and I mean like in your mind, if you're feeling stuck in a marriage or in a relationship, in a work situation, in a family situation, you can't move, you feel trapped. The first part of your body that's likely to start to break down in some way, shape or form is going to be your bones, your joints and your muscles. Okay, these are the things that move. Okay, and so if you're restricted in your movement in your mind, what's going to happen is your body's going to stop moving. All right, so those muscles, joints and bones are going to stop being as fluid. All right, you'll end up with diseases or issues or breaks and things like that. And it will depend on exactly the emotion that you've got behind it and the exact topic as to where on your body that will happen. Okay, there's a whole science behind this. If you're feeling out of control, and this, again, looking at the numbers, if you're an 8, okay, 8s are all about power and abundance, all right, and feeling very much kind of control freaks in a sense. They can be control freaks. 6s can be that as well, okay, because 6s need to get everything right, and so they can tend to be a little bit OCD at times if they don't watch themselves. They're probably the most likely numbers to feel out of control, but definitely all the numbers definitely do experience it. If that happens, what's going to happen is your nervous system's going to start to break down. Okay, you're going to have nervous problems that are going to start to show up in your body. And if you're still in your teens or your 20s, you're probably listening to this and going, oh yeah, no, I'm good, nothing's really happening to me. But once you get to about 30, 40, okay, you really start to notice your body starts to actually tell you, you know what, you've been ignoring this signal, you've been ignoring these messages that are saying you're off your path, you're off your life purpose path, you're going off the track there, you need to come back. All right, the body will be a later, especially if it's a disease, like heart disease and things like that, diabetes, they don't come on, straight away. But stubbing your toe can happen straight away. All right, when you have a thought and then you stub your toe, think about what the thought was just before you stubbed your toe. All right. Feeling a need to, defend yourself against an imminent attack. Okay, if you're constantly feeling under attack, it could be under emotional attack, it could be you just don't feel safe, like you might be in a war zone or something like that. You might feel bullied at work or at school or something like that. What's going to happen is your immune system is going to break down. You may also feel like your defenses are breaking down. Twos are very big on boundaries, okay? So if you are a 2, you may feel like your boundary is breaking down, so your skin might start to suffer from this. But the immune system definitely, if you feel under attack, you don't feel safe, the immune system's going to get compromised in some way, okay? If you feel like you can't speak your truth, just like I was saying before, your throat, okay, your Vishuddhi chakra area, all right, so your thyroid, throat, your lymph nodes around this area, all right. And if there's anger trying to burst out of you, it's literally going to be bursting out of your skin, okay, so we're talking about blisters, acne, scratches, things like that. All right, and that's just a really brief summary, okay? There's volumes of books that have been written about this stuff, and I do a lot of work on this stuff with my clients. I research it quite a bit, and there'll be a book coming out later that I'm going to write about this stuff, okay, with all the research I've done. There's a lot out there about this, so if you do have a particular ailment, it's a message. Okay, if your body is experiencing something, an illness, an ailment, a break, a cut, anything, okay, a disease, it's trying to tell you something. It's basically your higher self saying something's not right, you're off your path, get back onto it. Okay, and another type of messaging system that you're definitely getting is your birth circumstances. All right, and what we're looking at here is actually your date of birth, particularly, but also where you were born, your parents, etc. They're all going to be sending you messages about what it is that you really need to work with. Okay, your soul actually chose your parents, your soul chose your living circumstances, your social status, all of those things, your siblings, etc. So you can have a look at where you came from and what challenges you came up against, and they're actually going to give you a little bit of a hint as to your life purpose as well. But looking at just your date of birth, and as I said, if you can go back into the website and calculate your date of birth using the numerology page, that would be awesome. Then this will make a lot more sense to you. Okay, so if you have a 1 in your numbers, All right, so the ones that it doesn't matter where the number is in your numbers, so you'll have maybe 3 or 4 numbers in your life path numbers. The number on the far right is the most powerful number out of your numbers, okay, and the one on the far left is the least powerful, but they're all happening simultaneously. They're all influencing your decisions and your challenges all the time. You tend to work through them chronologically, so you start with the one on the left and you work your way across to the one on the right, but as I said, they're all affecting you all the time. Okay, so if I say a number that's in your numbers, take that as relevant to you. All right, so if you're one, the part of the life purpose with ones is to express their creative energy. Okay, they've got an enormous amount of energy coming through, and ones absolutely must be creative in some way. It doesn't mean actually going out and painting a painting or drawing a picture or doing a sculpture. It can be being creative in their expression. Okay, it could be creative in how they write their emails, how they relate to friends, how they do their garden. It can be any kind of creativity. And so being creative for one is a part of your life purpose. All right, so if you're not being creative at the moment, see if you can explore creative things that you're actually interested in. And that will possibly give you a really good hint as to what is actually a part of your path. For twos, their life purpose is around limits of responsibility, balance and cooperation. Okay, twos, when they're working their number, they have a real struggle with boundaries. Okay, they struggle with what's their responsibility, what's somebody else's responsibility, and they tend to take on everything. So if you are a 2, you're probably sitting there nodding right now. Okay, so it's working out a healthy boundary for yourself. All right, working out what you need to work on, what you need to be doing in your day-to-day life, and what somebody else needs to deal with instead of you. Okay, 2s also carry an enormous amount of guilt around this. So people tend to manipulate 2s by knowing that if they just have to hit the guilt button, and then 2s will just do it. Okay, guilt trips are great for 2s. All right. So your life purpose is to actually work out your limit of responsibility, teach other people what's the responsibility for themselves and for you, so you can actually show them by example where to cut that responsibility off in a sensitive way. Okay, and also to be able to cooperate. 2s, even though sometimes they resist it very strongly, 2s need to work in a team. 2s need to cooperate as part of their life purpose. So it will be in some kind of cooperative setup that you will be working. Okay, in your life purpose. And balance, of course. 2s are big on balance. They tend to have very little balance in their life in all areas. Okay, in their relationships, in their work environment, with their food, with their money. They struggle to balance their checkbooks. All right, so balance is quite an important part of your life journey as well, and of course showing other people that. So if you're a 3, it's all about expression and sensitivity, so giving positive heartfelt expression to the world. Okay, it's expressing your inner truth sensitively to the audience in front of you. Okay, so there's a really big thing here with 3s. With great power comes great responsibility. 3s have special powers. Okay, 3s are able to sense what people in the room are feeling. A 3 can walk into the room and actually feel what everybody in the room is feeling, possibly in a very subconscious sense, depending on how awakened they are to their 3 energy. Okay, 3s can generally know if they say something, if it's going to probably offend that person, if it's going to be the right thing to say, or if saying nothing's probably a better idea. Okay, so if you're a 3, it's definitely stopping before you speak. Okay, because there's a lot of stuff here around expression for 3s. Stopping before you speak, and obviously speaking that expression that's going to be to the best advantage of yourself and everyone else in the room. Okay, Abraham Lincoln was a 32-5, same as my numbers, and a fantastic example of a 32-5. He was able to walk into a room and read the mood of the people in the room, okay, the audience, whether it was 20 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, and speak to that audience. Okay, he was able to maybe tell them a story or relate to them in some way, almost as if he was actually talking just to that person. Okay, so that is part of your life purpose as a 3, your expression. So if you do have a 3 in your numbers, or maybe 2 3s, or even if you're a 6, so if you look at the even numbers in your numerology, if you have a 6, it can be equivalent to 2 3s. If you have an 8, it can be equivalent to 2 4s. All right, so have a look at that as well. 4s can definitely be equivalent to 2 2s as well. So having a look at that as well, and assessing where it is in your life that that you may be limited in your expression, okay, where you can actually express yourself more sensitively, and that is definitely a part of your life purpose. So 4s, achieving stability and security by following a process, okay, they're all about stability and process, right? The 4s in the world, they're the people who build the skyscrapers. They're the people who go, right, we need to do the foundation, the next step is this, next step is this, next step is this. Okay, they work out all the steps that are required in any process, whether it be a relationship process, a building process, a financial process, doesn't matter. All right, they're the guys to go to when it comes to systems and processes. They know it like the back of their hand. And they also create the stability, all right? They're the rock. If you have a 4 in your family, it's a really great idea to do the numbers for your whole family, the numerology while you're listening to this videotape. So go back and calculate the numbers for parents and siblings and your partner if you have one, children. It's a really fun thing to do. So stability, all right, they're the rock. But inside, if a 4 is still working its numbers, a 4 is actually going to feel like they're completely unstable and that they're not a rock. All right, a really big life purpose for 4s is they come into this world, they put themselves in a rowing boat, all right, and then they get somebody in their life to shake the rowing boat, okay, to really rock it around and see if they can still stay standing. All right, so all of your soulmates in your life, your parents possibly, siblings, partners, workmates, etc., that are pushing you and making you feel very unstable, your soul has put them there, has attracted them there so that you can actually create stability in yourself. All right, so if you're still living a life of enormous instability and you're 4, the purpose is to actually become the rock inside of that instability and then move away from it. Okay, so that is in a nutshell what 4s need to work on. 5s, inner freedom through discipline, focus and depth. Okay, they're all about freedom and discipline. Okay, 5s, and 5s need to go deep. All right, what 5s tend to do is they dabble. All right, so they will explore many different things. All right, quickest way to work out if someone's a 5 is if they come up to you and they say, oh, I'm going to do this degree and I'm going to learn this and I'm going to go overseas and go to this place and I'm going to explore that and I'm going to do this and I've got so many things I want to do and I've got 10 books on the shelf that I still haven't read. Okay, that's a typical 5. Someone who wants to have an enormous variety and wideness of experience, but they're not actually going deep. Okay, so the biggest part of your life purpose as a 5 is to actually find that thing that really makes you buzz, and I'll talk more about that later. Find that thing that really turns you on, that really gets you excited, and then explore it deeply. And going past the point of boredom, because the point of boredom, you're just starting to get it, so you need to get over the point of boredom and get out the other side. All right, so moving yourself to a place of depth, of mastery, of something that you're extremely passionate about. All right, that's the main thing for a 5. 5s also, just as a note, 5s also often come to me in the healing therapy sessions, and they say, well, I'm kind of good at a lot of things and I don't really know what thing I really want to do. All right, they really are the jack of all trades. They actually could pretty much put their hand at just about anything. All right, you've got to work out as a 5 what thing really turns you on. If you haven't found it yet, then keep looking. All right, or meditate. That's a really good way to do it. I'll talk more about that later. So 6s need to reconcile their higher ideals with practical reality, accept the self and the world, and its inherent perfection. All right. 6s are the idealists, okay? They're all about acceptance, idealism and acceptance, all right? The most famous 6s, they're the guys that really changed this world. They made this world rock, okay? Thomas Edison, he invented the first light bulb. It took him 10,000 attempts to actually get one to actually work, All right, so there's that persistence, there's that going, no, this is actually going to work. I believe in my ideal. I believe that we can light up the world with light bulbs. Okay, the Wright brothers, another perfect example. One of them was a 6. All right, they said, you know what, we're going to fly aeroplanes, and most people thought they were crazy. So most people don't accept 6s because 6s don't accept themselves. So a really big thing with 6s is to go, you know what, I accept myself. I believe in this ideal. I believe in this picture that I have in my head of something that I can create, something I can do differently. Okay, Michael Jackson was a 6. John Lennon was a 6. Okay, just for another few examples, Einstein was a 6. All right, they had these ideals, and a lot of people thought they were crazy, but they did it anyway. Okay, and they absolutely changed the world as we know it. Every single one of those people changed the world as we know it. So it's accepting self, all right, and then accepting others as a consequence of that, and showing people acceptance. I mean, look at Michael Jackson, for instance, and how he struggled to accept himself, and then he in a lot of his songs, he suggested to people to accept everybody. So he was having this sort of battle within himself, as an example. John Lennon also sung a lot about acceptance. Okay, imagine, you know, for example. All right, so if you are a 6, work out what your ideals are, work out what your visions are, and just stick with them, go with them. Okay, be a Thomas Edison, just keep pushing through the boundary, be persistent, and find that thing that turns you on, that really buzzes you, and keep going, keep pushing through. Okay, and don't worry about what other people say when they're judging you. Obviously, if there's people working with you, if you're, say, a 24/6 for instance, you do need to cooperate with people, all right, because you're 2. So 7s, okay, trust the light and spirit within and share their inner beauty. All right, 7s are all about truth and openness. All right, 7s are the people who are very much in touch with spirit. Okay, they're very much in touch with the trees, nature, the spirit world. They often can hear spirits, angels, ghosts, fairies, things like that, and their deepest life purpose is to actually reconnect with spirit, to reconnect with absolute truth, to reconnect with beauty, and to share that with the world. So that's where you need to work on with your 7. A lot of 7s, by the time they get to about 20, 30, you know, the 40s, they tend to repress all of that, and some of them actually become hermits. They don't want to. They shut off the world because it's just too hard and it hurts too much. Okay, they're not the most likely people you'd find in a mall, because malls are just too much for really highly spiritually attuned people. Okay, so if you are a 7, get out in nature. Okay, going out in nature and touching a tree or walking on the ground, walking on the earth with no shoes on, is like breathing for you. Okay, it's like oxygen. All right, making sure that you do that. All right, 8s are all about power and abundance. So work with your abundance, power and recognition, and apply this to the world in a way of common good. All right, so 8s are the sorts of people who can go, I would really love a purple polka dot kettle and I want it to look just like this, and then the next day they can go down to the op shop and find a purple polka dot that looks just like that. Okay, they're magical manifestors. Right? When they tune themselves in, when they let go of expectations, they can harness the law of abundance better than anybody else. All right, they're also very powerful. Okay, they have a powerful presence when they're actually standing inside of their own power. Okay, when they're letting go of their ego stuff. All right, Tom Cruise, for instance, is an 8. All right, so he does have a powerful presence when he's being powerful within himself. Okay, so being okay with your abundance. 8s tend to not be okay with their abundance. They tend to think they're being greedy. They tend to be afraid of abundance, and they tend to actually self-sabotage any attempt to give them abundance. All right, so being abundant, being okay with recognition, and using those resources, using that power to change the world for the better. Okay, that is part of your life purpose, and you just need to work out exactly what that looks like, exactly what avenue that's in, the thing that you're really, really passionate about. Okay, so if you're a 9, your life purpose is to live in accord with highest integrity, align with your heart's intuitive wisdom, inspire others by your example. Okay, nines are all about wisdom and integrity. Okay, so it's actually working out what your true values are, your values and beliefs, okay, your spiritual laws, whether you follow an actual religion, so maybe you follow one specific religion, or maybe you grab a little bit from every different religion, so like Buddhism, a little bit of Hinduism, a little bit of Christianity, or maybe you haven't explored these things yet. Okay, even yoga could be regarded as a type of religion or a lifestyle that you can follow. Okay, the yamas and niyamas, for instance. Okay, if you're a 9 and you haven't explored different types of spiritual laws or values that you could follow as a human being in your life, you definitely have an innate urge to do that. Okay, so start to do some reading, start to do some research, start to ask questions. Make some inquiries, maybe go visit a few churches or temples or things like that. Chat to a few priests, okay? And find out what it is that you truly believe in, okay? You would have most likely followed your parents or the people who you looked up to in your childhood, and once you actually create your own values and beliefs, you'll stick to them quite strongly, most likely. Okay, so if you don't feel comfortable in what you currently have as your values and beliefs, or maybe you're in a marriage or in a partnership or in a situation where the people around you have a certain set of values and beliefs and they're not really lining up with yours. Maybe you're in a workplace that's not quite working. So this is when the illnesses and the diseases are going to come in, because your higher self, okay, your true soul inside of you is saying that this isn't working for me, this is not my higher purpose. Okay, Mahatma Gandhi was a 9. Okay, he was a 27-9, so he had that 7, that spiritual energy. He had that strong, deep connection with spirit. Okay, so it was really easy for him to meditate and really easy for him to connect with the spirit world, and to find his truth. Okay, to look for his truth, and also he had that 9. Okay, that wisdom and integrity. So he found his truth and then he shared it with an entire country, okay? And 9s lead by example, all right? So what he did, everybody else did, okay? So his idea of non-violence actually caught on throughout the whole country. So he basically won a war through non-violence. So if you are a 9, you will be one of the main leaders in your family, whether you like it or not. Okay, so what you choose to do and the integrity that you choose to keep is going to be followed by those around you, whether you like it or not. And if you're out of integrity, it'll hit you in the guts like a dagger. All right, so it's just like for 7s, if they're not being truthful to themselves, they're going to be hit in the guts with a dagger. Okay, if 9s aren't being in integrity, they will feel it very, very strongly. So it's all about working out your values and beliefs and working with that. That's part of your life purpose, okay? So the third type of messages that you can get, and these are in no particular order, okay? These are just messages from your higher self, from the universe telling you this is either your life path or this is definitely off your life path, okay? It's not your life purpose. So your current circumstances, all right? Looking at everything across the board in your current circumstances and going, is this feeling good or is this feeling not good? All right, look at all of your current relationships. Are there any issues inside of your current relationships? If you get like a tight feeling in your chest or a gut feeling, or you feel a bit nauseous or something, you start to get pains or things when you're around particular people, stop and listen to what your body's trying to tell you. If there's big issues, a lot of fighting in your relationship, obviously that's your higher self saying something's not quite right here, something's not working. If there's still issues around your parents, so if you haven't come to peace around your parents, you will not be fully satisfied within yourself, okay? You will not be in peace within yourself, okay? And you won't actually have a completely fulfilling love relationship or even strong friendships, partnerships, if you aren't at peace with your parents. Okay, so looking at that, exploring that, seeing if you can come to peace with that. Abundance. How's your abundance going? Are you abundant, or are you struggling quite a bit with your money, with your resources, and see if things are flowing. Okay, if things are not flowing, you're off your path. The moment things start to flow, you'll know that you're getting closer to your life purpose. You're working along your path. What's your level of happiness like? Do you wake up in the morning and do you go, yes, this is awesome, I love my life, I feel really good? Does your body feel really good? Or do you wake up in the morning and go, I don't want to do this, I hate my work, I hate my job, I hate my life? If you're there, okay, definitely that's a sign saying you've gone off your path. All right, that's a pretty obvious one, but I thought I'd put that in there anyway. Accidents, illness, obstacles and delays. Now this is a bit of a tricky one, okay? If you haven't done any of this work yet, any of this energy work, if you haven't come to me as a healing therapist or come to somebody else, if you haven't had a really close look at what's going on in your life, and you haven't done much work on the law of attraction, this bit might sound a little bit confronting to a lot of people. But as I said, remember how I talked about my tonsillitis, okay? I was having particular issues around my self-expression, and so my body was saying, okay, let's do something with my higher self said, okay, let's mess up her self-expression, the place in her body where she can be self-expressed, to tell her that something's not right, okay? And I wasn't listening for quite a long time and almost ended up at surgery. Okay, any accident, any illness, any disease, any obstacle, any delay that's put in front of you, okay, is the universe or your higher self or the spirit world or God, however you want to call it, saying to you, something's not right, okay? You need to look at something, all right? And it could be a part of self-doubt, it could be a part of this is just not the right journey for you, you need to take a U-turn, all right? Now I'm talking any accident, all right? So even though it sounds dreadful, if somebody has an accident, a car accident or something happens, they break their leg or whatever, think about what part of their body has been injured, all right? And it will line up with, and what functionality that part of their body has, and that will line up perfectly with what emotional out of order, disorder they were having, okay? They were feeling out of ease, so they were feeling dis-ease, and so they ended up with a disease, whether it be a broken leg or some other disease, okay? So if they ended up with, say, diabetes or heart disease or something like that. A lot of people say, especially when you fill out forms and that, they say, oh, do you have any, heart conditions in your family? Do you have any, diabetes in your family? Things like that. With the work that I've been doing, it's become very apparent that you're not really inheriting, it's not really genetic as such, okay, to get heart disease, for instance, okay. What you're really inheriting is the feeling around the heart, okay, the feeling of grief or loss or sadness around your heart. So your parents and your parents' parents and your parents' parents' parents, okay, they may have had this daily feeling of just sadness and loss, and so each parent passed it on to their children. And of course, don't sit around beating yourself up about this, okay? It's just, this is just how it is, okay? And until people stop and actually realise this, and they actually start to do some research and start to watch videos like this and go, oh, hang on, yeah, my parents were pretty upset all the time. My parents were pretty sad. There was like a sort of an air of sadness around my dad all the time, someone might say. Okay, and he ended up with heart disease, for instance. Okay, so if you look at the diseases that were happening in your family, okay, diabetes is basically there was no sweetness in my life. Okay, life is not sweet. All right, so what are you doing? You're going for sweets, all right, to fill the gap. And that's just an example, but every disease, every mental illness, everything has come from a place of feeling a lack of peace of mind inside of yourself, okay? And that's actually manifested into something that happens on the outside. Same with accidents. If you have something happen to your body, you break a leg or whatever, even a bruise, okay, it's going to tell you something's not quite right in your thought process. Another message is to look at your 5 closest people that you spend the most time with, okay? They could be your 5 closest friends, they could be family members, partner, etc. Okay, and take a little look at what their life looks like, okay? Take a little look at how they're feeling inside of themselves. Do they complain all the time? Are they constantly sick? Are they constantly blaming other people for what's going on in their life? How's their family going? Okay, so what's their extended family look like? And if you sort of work out the average of where those 5 people are at, that's going to be around about where you're at. So one note is to have a look at the 5 people you spend the most time with and have a little think about whether they're the best 5 people to spend the most time with, or whether as you start to heal, you'll most likely start to spend time with people at a slightly higher vibration, okay, that are on the same level as you. You're always going to attract people on the same level as you, so you can look at the people around you and go, well, okay, how am I feeling inside myself because I've attracted these people, okay? Look at your health, your mental, emotional and physical health. I've already sort of covered that, but that's another way, that's another message, obviously. Another really big one is cravings, habits and addictions, all right? Every single thing that you crave and every habit that you have, and definitely every addiction that you have, that's actually a lack of peace of mind around a very particular thought, a very particular emotion. Okay, you can home it down to the very specifics of the thing that you're craving or the addiction that you have. So, for example, if someone's craving chocolate all the time, they just could not live without chocolate, they don't feel love, okay? Even if people around them are giving them love, it's not actually penetrating, all right? So they're not actually feeling it in their heart. They're not acknowledging the love and accepting the love inside of themselves. And there's 5 different types of chocoholics, and I do work on this in the workshops that I do on cravings and the weight loss workshops I'll be doing later in the year. But basically, yes, it all comes down to the person's not feeling loved, all right? Chocolate actually stimulates the exact same chemicals in the brain as does ecstasy, okay? The feeling of romantic love, okay? Depression, if someone's feeling depressed, they're most likely going to go for the dairy products, all right? If someone's feeling angry, anxious or stressed, they're probably going to go for something salty, all right? And if they're going for something really crispy salty and it's something hard and cold and they put it in their mouth and they hear that crackling, say of Sandboy chips or something like that, they're actually really angry, okay, because they're hearing that violence inside their mouth, okay, that loud noise in their mouth. And of course, whichever flavour, that's going to tell me something about you as well. This is just a very basic summary. If someone feels like they're lacking excitement in their life, they're going to go for the spicy foods. If someone's craving fun, they're going to go for the nuts and the peanut butter. So that's just a really quick summary of those messages, all right? So things that you're craving, okay? What you're doing is you're trying to literally bury the messages that are coming from your gut feelings with food, or addictions. All right, so you reach for the cigarette or you reach for the chocolate or whatever it is, the alcohol. It's literally covering up what it is that you're really feeling, okay? You're burying it so that you don't have to deal with it, all right? Now let's talk a little bit about your butterfly moments, okay? What it is that you're actually really passionate about. This is a bit where you sort of go, is this my life purpose? Is this the topic? Is this the thing that I'm really passionate about, that I really want to do? Okay, now if you say I'm good at it, so therefore it must be my life purpose, that's not really a good enough reason, okay? It might be a hint as to the direction of your life purpose, because you've obviously spent some time perfecting it, doing it, but it also could just be a distraction, all right? Some people are very old souls and they're actually quite good at lots of things, okay? And particularly 5s, they can come in and just about work anything, all right? So explore a little bit. I'm good at it is not really going to cut it, but we'll have a look at that a little bit deeper in a second. So your butterfly moments. So find a friend who you really trust, someone who knows you quite well, okay? They know when you're excited about something and they know when you're just like, yeah, I'm not really very excited at all, okay? And tell them about the thing that you're thinking might be your life purpose, your topic or your occupation that you think might be that thing, that really important thing that just gets you going, okay? And see how you do it, okay? If it really is your life purpose, your eyes are going to light up, your eyebrows are just going to raise up, your hands are going to be all over the place, your expression's going to be more animated, your heart will be racing, and you'll be quite a lot more self-expressive, okay? So see if your friend says, oh yeah, you're pretty excited about that, that's pretty cool, and I can see there's a lot of truth in that, and you're really serious about that, and it's actually something that I think you'd be really into. Or do you look like you're about to go and clean the toilets? All right, so see if they can work out whether you're actually really excited about it, or if it's just a thing just to distract you from what your purpose actually is. Okay, A really big part of discovering your life purpose is to start to tune into your psychic ability. Every human being is definitely psychic, all right? And some human beings have a stronger psychic ability in certain one of the four clairs, okay? But they are all able to be enlightened and built up so that you can utilize your four clairs. So everybody is psychic. And if you're not at the moment, if you're not feeling psychic at the moment, you're not picking up signals, it's because you're afraid. All right. So a really big part of the life purpose stuff that I do, the work that I do, especially in the workshops, is opening up your psychic ability. So the four clairs, there's the clairvoyant, which is probably the most famous one, the claircognizant, clairsentient, and clairaudient. Okay, so clairvoyant, it's seeing things, all right? Now, it might not be specifically seeing an actual angel or a ghost or something like that. You might see flashes of light, okay, flashes of colour. You might see numbers repeated over and over again. So maybe on your clock, you always see 1111 or something like that. And that means something very specific, with the angel numbers that I'll work on as well. You might see number plates over and over again, or words, pop up. That's a repeated word over and over again. That's actually clairvoyant, all right? So you don't have to be able to see angels. And there's a certain exercise that we do in the workshop that actually opens up your third eye. So it actually removes all of that fear that you have around seeing things, and it actually opens up that chakra center so that you can actually start to see things again, if you would like to do that. And of course, it's all up to you whether you choose to do it and when the time is right for you. The claircognizant, that's clear thinking, all right? I'm definitely that's probably one of my stronger ones, claircognizance. So you're having a thought that may not necessarily have come from your mind, is probably the easiest way to explain it. So you're having thoughts coming down, you're thinking something, and you start to say something out loud. It's essentially channeling. Okay, so if you think about the Abraham Hicks stuff, okay, you start saying stuff and you go, I didn't really think that. Where did that come from? I didn't even know I could say that, or that sort of thing. Especially for sevens, they tend to channel quite a lot. So you just start rattling on and go, I didn't really know where that came from. Okay, when you say that, that's claircognizance. Okay, so it's clear thinking, and you can definitely tune into that. One thing I use all the time, Archangel Chamuel. Okay, if I've lost something, it's like, oh, where are my keys? Archangel Chamuel, I can't find my keys anywhere in the obvious places. Can you please help me find it? And then just rest and settle, and then just wherever your thoughts take you, even if it's to the washing machine or the freezer or something that seems a little bit out there, out to the backyard or into the car or something like that, go with that and follow your thoughts. Just let your thoughts flow, and the Archangel Chamuel will take you to your keys. All right. Clairsentience is another one, which is clear feeling. Okay, you feel things. So you might walk into a room and get a sense, especially for threes. Threes actually experience this quite a lot. They're quite highly sensitive beings. Okay, they'll sense moods, but they can also sense the angels. They can sense things quite strongly. Quite intuitive, threes are, especially 303s, by the way, if you're 303. So it's feeling. So if you call in the angels, you might feel a change in the air pressure. Okay, you might feel tingling down your spine. You might get goosebumps. Okay, you might get a really warm feeling. You might feel a really cold feeling when an earthbound spirit, okay, or a spirit guide comes in that's not really in a good place. Okay, and you'll either know what I'm saying or not. But if you start to tune into this, and after watching this, you may even experience something. Okay, because everybody can open it up if they choose to let go of that fear. And again, we do a lot of work with this in the workshops to actually release that fear and to open up your eyes, to release the fear and the blockages in your eyes and in your sensitivity as well. Clairsentient, what was the last one? Clairaudient, so hearing things. Okay, you may actually hear angels or ghosts or something like that, but you also might hear something on the radio come over again and again, like the same song over and over again, or maybe you hear conversations and the same word might happen over and over again, and you go, wow, what's that all about? Okay, so that's clairaudient, so clear hearing. And again, there's very specific techniques you can use to clear your fears around your hearing. Okay, what happens is an ego will actually block certain frequencies of people who have abused them, for instance. Okay, so people that have abused you in your past, and even people from past lives that have abused you, if you work out what their frequency is, that's the frequency you won't hear, all right, from the angels and from anything else. Okay, so that's just a really quick summary of being able to open up that message system, which is a really useful and very efficient message system, a lot more efficient than like having an accident and having something happen to your physical body, for instance. So what next? What do you do from here? All right, listen, look, feel and think. Start to just sit back and just watch what's going on around you. Have a look at what's the soundtrack to your life. What words are coming in? What are you watching? What are you hearing? What are you seeing? Okay, what's happening in your body? What's happening in your physical body? Start to look it up. Start to make inquiries. Meditate. Meditation is one of the best things that you can do to sort out your life purpose. One really important thing you can do that can allow you to start to explore your life purpose in a lot more detail is to meditate. I can't emphasize this enough. Even meditating just for 2 minutes a day, 5 minutes, building it up, all right? Either just sitting still, sitting on a chair if you can't sit on the floor, sitting out in nature is fantastic. Just for 5 minutes a day, just closing your eyes and seeing if you can just close your thoughts off and just practice listening to your breath. If you haven't got any meditation CDs or help with meditation, you can definitely download stuff on iTunes. I'm definitely going to be sending out quite a few meditation recordings soon. But guided meditation is great if you haven't done meditation before. And just sitting there and just sitting in stillness and just seeing if you can close off your mind, if you can shut the ego down basically, if you can stop the noise, the chatter, those messages will just come through. You may not actually hear the messages, you might not actually physically hear someone say, oh, you've got to get up and do this, okay, but subconsciously you'll start to just do things a little bit differently. You'll start to have like just little thoughts, oh, I just need to go over there, I'm not sure why, but I just need to go and do that thing. Okay, stuff will start to shift in your life. Okay, certain things will start to become really obvious to you, things that you need to move, things you need to attract, and you'll just naturally attract them. Meditation is magical. Okay, it might not feel magical when you're actually sitting there when you first start, but it actually you can definitely get to a place of real stillness. And once you have meditated and you do it regularly, magic will happen in your life. Okay, I cannot emphasize that enough. If you're really serious about working out your life purpose and connecting with your higher self and finding out what it is you're really here to do, work on meditation. Obviously, another really good thing to do next is to come to one of my 8-hour workshops. We go through all of this in a lot more detail, obviously, over the 8 hours, and of course we release all of those psychic fears and open up all the psychic channels and get you to a place where you can really start to hear your messages from every direction in all the ways that I've outlined your messages that are coming at you all the time. I've also talked about before in several other videos your triad of healing. So this is another way to really open this stuff up. And the first part one of the parts of the triad of healing is releasing blocked energy. So to release this, and it is something that does need to happen, just like I did when I did the energy work, when my sister said to me, you need to go and do the energy work, I released that energy, okay, through energy healing. Okay, so ways to do that. Yoga can help, definitely, if it's a really the yoga that I do with the Drew yoga, we do energy block releases. Okay, so very specific sequences that actually unblock certain energies in your body, so they can release stresses, they can release past hurts, they can release feeling powerless and things like that. But other yogas definitely can help as well. They'll help unblock. You can do Reiki, all right, which is something that I do as well, but definitely you can find someone else that does the Reiki. You can even become a Reiki practitioner and do it on your own. Okay, you can do your own Reiki, self-Reiki. You can do shiatsu massage, acupuncture, okay, tai chi, craniosacral therapy. They all do a wonderful job at releasing that energy in your body. So doing that energy work is a really important part of the triad of healing. All right, the second part is reprogramming that subconscious. All right, so all those things that are happening, they're off the path stuff, but your subconscious, your ego has pulled you off the path. Okay, it's put you over there off track. So what needs to happen is your ego needs to be told a different story. It needs to open up to a different possibility and a different way of looking at you and a different way of looking at the people around you, okay? And the way to do that, the best way to do that is to use affirmations. On my website there's a whole section of that numerology section that you went to. It's actually about the recordings that we do, so there's counter affirmations that you can use to actually change what your ego is thinking with respect to your numerology, and also a lot of the other stuff with the angel therapy in there. But specific affirmations around what things have pushed you off the path. Okay, so if you have heart disease, for instance, obviously some of the affirmations you would do is I'm filled with joy, I'm filled with love. It's about your heart. So think about what your heart is actually, what your heart wants to have in the positive. Okay, what a heart would be feeling if it was feeling positive. So work towards that. Okay, if you're having stomach problems, digestion problems, okay, you're having trouble excuse me, you're having trouble stomaching what's going on around you, you're having trouble digesting what's going around you. So one of the obvious affirmations for that would be I joyfully accept what's going on around me, I digest life with joy, and things like that. And of course look at what's going on in your life, what it is that you are struggling to digest. Is there something there you need to move away from? Okay, so affirmations is, I believe, one of the best ways to do that. Okay, it's one of the most long-lasting ways to do that. You can also do hypnosis, all right? You can do subliminal messages if that's what you're into, but I personally would prefer to know exactly what the messages were that were coming through, so to be able to hear the recording first before I sit down and let my body, let my ego be reprogrammed. So there are also vision boards is a really good way to do it. Okay, so the last one is proactive replacement. So once you've worked out the things that are off the path, okay, and you need to get back onto your path, if you're going to let go of those things, you need to have something else to go to. All right, so being very proactive about releasing and burning, writing lists and safely burning those lists of all the things that you want to let go of. Releasing the old relationships that aren't working for you anymore, the toxic relationships, for instance, letting go of addictions and cravings. But of course, once you do that, you need to replace it with something that's positive. So there's that very proactive replacement that needs to go on. So I hope this has been helpful, a really helpful introduction to discovering your life purpose. I'd love to hear your feedback and where you're at, what you're dealing with at the moment, and hopefully I'll see you in a workshop soon. There's numerology workshops coming up that are definitely about life purpose, because we deal with your life path numerology in that workshop, and of course the life purpose workshop coming up in a few months' time. So best wishes with your life journey. I'd love to hear what you discover after working with these tools. Thank you.